gosh, this is so exciting. This audience is bumping today. I am feeling it. I am so excited because all this week, I am showing you some of my homemade versions of my totally craveable all-time fave takeout hits. So welcome to day 3 of my take on takeout. Excited about this one because the number of times a week I look at my husband Aaron and say, should we get sushi? Is too many times. Genuinely too many times. So I wanted to figure out how to make kind of sort of the flavors of sushi at home lickety split. And this recipe only takes about 15 to 20 minutes to make, so it's absolutely perfect. So as opposed to making like sushi rolls, we're gonna do speedy, spicy tuna sushi bowls. Yeah, it rhymes, so it works, it makes sense. So the first thing we need to do is get to work on that sushi rice. And when you're making sushi rice, you want to use a short grain rice. If you can find sushi rice, fantastic, but any sort of short grain is gonna stay nice and sticky. This type of rice is really glutinous, so it's gonna give you that delicious kind of tacky texture that holds together beautifully. So I've got about 1.5 cups of that sushi rice in a bowl, and I've been soaking it in cold water for about half an hour. What that's gonna do is it's gonna pull some of those starches to the surface, helping it kind of like stick together, but not turn into a big bowl of mush. So we're already off to a good start. I'm gonna go give that a drain to get rid of all that water. You can also do this by rinsing this under running tap water, but to be honest, that takes a good long time. So I usually just soak it and you're good to go. Now, as you can see, I'll show you this water. All this, that's starch. A lot of that starch has come out. That would make it really kind of gloopy, so this is gonna be perfect. Now I'm gonna add this on into a pot. I am not the rice maker in the house. To be honest, that's usually Aaron's job. The one thing, my Everest, rice. It's really hard. But honestly, sushi rice or any sort of short grain rice, that's the stuff that I can do. If you're asking me to do a basmati, a jasmine, guess what? You're getting a pile of mush. I'm sorry. Unless Aaron makes it, it's not gonna be good. All right, now into that 1.5 cups of rice, I've got 1 3/4 cups of water. So I'm gonna add that right on in. It's kind of a lower ratio, but it's gonna be good. Then I'm gonna add in about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That salt's gonna season that liquid and that rice as it cooks. What I wanna do at that point is bring that up to a boil over high heat, then drop the heat down to low, pop a lid on, and let that go for just about 12 to 15 minutes. Cooks up really nice and quickly. Once that 12 to 15 minutes is up, pop that pan aside and let that cool or steam for about 5 minutes. Then you end up with something that looks a little like this. We've already fluffed this one up a little bit, but you can see there's like stickiness. They're all kind of holding together. So now we want to season this, because when you get sushi, that rice isn't just seasoned with the salt in the water like typical kind of long grain rice is. You also want to add in a little bit of rice wine vinegar. Now, if you have just plain rice wine vinegar at home, that'll work perfectly. You're also going to want to add in a little bit of salt and maybe a bit of sugar, which sounds weird, but trust me, it works. But I'm cheating and I use seasoned rice wine vinegar. So someone else did it for me. You know, taking shortcuts where we can. So I'm just gonna add in about 1/4 cup of that into that nice warm rice. Just kind of scatter it over top, and you can add some more or less depending on what you're feeling, but give it a little bit of a toss in just to bring that seasoning together into all of that rice. You can see you've got those good clumps kind of sticking together, looking absolutely beautiful. So now I'm gonna divide this up into my bowls. This is my #1 tip. Anytime I'm doing a sushi bowl and I want that rice to stay nice and sticky, while it's still warm, I divide it into my serving bowls, and then it's gonna kind of like coalesce and stay nice and sticky and wonderful together. If I were to let it cool in the pot and then pop it in, it would get a little piecey and fall aparty, which not the worst thing in the world, but you know, it's easier to eat with chopsticks when it sticks together, so we're good to go. All right, now that is doing its thing. That's gonna cool down just a little bit, and I'm gonna go get my tuna. So anytime you're working with raw fish, you wanna buy sushi grade, top quality, fresh stuff, because you wanna make sure it's perfect. We're not cooking this tuna. So I've got 500 grams of fresh sushi grade tuna here, and I'm also gonna grab my ginger, but that's gonna be for later. We all know I keep my ginger in the freezer, right? It's key. This, never gonna go bad. It's gonna be delicious all the time. So that's gonna come into play in a minute, but I'm gonna get to work on this tuna. Now I've got this in nice big chunks, but if you're someone who maybe is like sushi curious, I would cut them into smaller chunks just to make it so it's a little more like, you know, You don't have to chew as much, which is always a delight. So I'm actually gonna make this into spicy tuna, which is Erin's absolutely favorite roll. And the first thing you need for that, a little bit of mayonnaise, always a good thing. Just the tiniest bit of mayonnaise though. I'm only adding in just a couple of teaspoons because I don't want this to be sloppy, but don't worry, for all those mayonnaise heads out there like me, there's more mayonnaise coming in later because I love mayo. Now, I'm also gonna add in a little bit of heat, so just a couple teaspoons of some sriracha. You wanna use sriracha because that's the classic flavor we're looking for. I'm going in with 1, maybe 2 teaspoons, but you do it to your taste. And then I also like to add in just a tiny bit of toasted sesame oil. That gives you this like warm, nutty toastiness. It's really good. Add in just a little dribble, and we're good to go. Now I'm gonna give that a mix together, and you just want that spicy mayonnaise mixture just to lightly coat that tuna. You know sometimes when you get spicy tuna and it's mainly just mayonnaise, I'm not mad at it. But some people might be, so we're keeping it light on the mayo here. You can still see that beautiful pink color from that wonderful fresh tuna. That's looking wonderful. So I'm just gonna set that aside, let those flavors get to know each other. And now I'm gonna get to work on my secondary mayonnaise. I don't know what it is. I used to not love mayonnaise, but now it's my truly favorite condiment, so welcome to my brain. So I like to make kind of like a wasabi mayo with a little bit of ginger in there. Kind of pulls back on the heat of that wasabi. So I need about a 1/4 cup of mayo. You can go less, don't worry, you don't have to eat all that mayo. We're just making enough for Mary, but if you want less, feel free. Okay, I went like for 1/2 cup of mayo. Now into there, I wanna add in some of that wasabi. And I always have one of these hanging around in my fridge. You get it once, and I swear this stuff lasts in your fridge forever, because you don't eat a lot of it. It's spicy stuff. So do this to your taste. I'm gonna add probably about maybe a teaspoon or 2 right on in. Give that a mix together. And then for a little bit, again, of that toasty kind of flavor, I'm gonna toss in some of that toasted sesame oil. Then in addition to that, this is where I go double ginger. You know how you get that pickled ginger with your sushi? And usually there's that little like plastic blade of grass in between everything. We don't have that, but we are gonna add double ginger in. So I've got that frozen ginger here, and I've got my microplane, and I'm just gonna add in just about 1/2 teaspoon, because that's gonna give me that peppery, fresh ginger flavor in this mayo. And then I'm also obviously gonna have that nice pickled ginger on there as well. So give that a mix together. You get that little bit of green from that wasabi. People are gonna be like, what is in this mayo? But it is so delicious and bright. Now, to put these bowls together, honestly, most of the time in our house, anytime we don't know what to make, we call it bowl night, and we just put anything in a bowl. But it's about how you arrange it to make it look cute and nice. So I'm gonna start off with some of that beautiful tuna with all of those lovely, spicy, mayo-y deliciousness. So just add in as much or as little as you'd like. And I kind of put it together almost like an artist's palette. Like I like to stick to one side, then with every single bite, you can kind of like choose your own adventure. Do you want extra tuna in this one? Maybe extra rice in another? Maybe some extra veg in? And for the veg, I like to do stuff like maybe some thinly sliced carrots for a little bit of crunch. I know, kind of weird, but it's honestly really good. Also, I always have carrots on hand, so they make their way into pretty much all of my bowls. A little bit of some thinly sliced cucumber as well. You could cut this into matchsticks or just thinly sliced like these babies. Pop those in as well. Essentially just make it so you can kind of like, it's like, what is it, composed salad, you know? Kind of like the Cobb salad of sushi. All right, now I've also got some edamame here, and edamame is great because there's extra protein. This is just the frozen stuff, just quickly simmer it. Add that right on in as well. And then I've got some green onion just for a little bright freshness right on top. A little bit of some sesame seeds just to hint to that flavor you're getting, just right on as well. And honestly, this is kind of my dream. We can't forget about that pickled ginger and of course, that mayonnaise. I'm just gonna get some of that beautiful wasabi mayo, pop a little right in the corner. Serve that up with a little bit of soy sauce, maybe a little bit of extra sriracha, and you, my friend, have got some delicious sushi, but in a bowl. I'm going in. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's delicious. That's sesame. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.